In a moment of rising cross-border tension, an old voice has returned to remind Canadians who they are. The iconic I Am Canadian advertisement, originally aired by Molson in 2000 and made famous by actor Jeff Douglas, has roared back into the public consciousness, this time with a timely update. The remastered version of the ad, now circulating across platforms like Instagram and YouTube, directly addresses the current wave of USA trade threats, protectionist rhetoric, and cultural jabs, and Canadians are eating it up. The AD begins as it once did, with Douglas standing proudly on stage, passionately declaring, "I am not American," but now, new lines have been added to address recent USA political stances, including proposed tariffs on Canadian lumber, aluminum, and digital services. "I drink coffee from Tim Hortons, not Starbucks," Douglas says in the update. "I do not panic over maple syrup prices, I stockpile it." The blend of humor and assertiveness has clearly struck a national nerve. The revival comes on the heels of aggressive trade warnings from former President Donald Trump, who suggested earlier this week that a North American restructuring could be necessary unless Canada backs off what he called unfair taxation of USA tech companies. He also doubled down on his threats to increase tariffs on Canadian lumber and dairy exports by up to 35%. In a country where 75% of exports go to the USA, this stirred unease but also fierce defiance. Social media lit up within hours of the ads. Canadian influencers stitched the clip with personal takes, while political commentators praised its tone. Hashtags like "I am Canadian," "Proudly Canadian," and "Stand with Canada" started trending, with many sharing their own reasons for national pride. "This is exactly what we needed," tweeted one Toronto user, a reminder that being polite does not mean being passive. The 80s resurgence has not only fired up consumers, it has sparked corporate momentum. Canadian Tire routes, and even Via Rail, have launched mini-campaigns echoing the same message. Canadian identity is not for sale. A new limited edition Roots hoodie with "I Am Canadian" printed across the chest sold out in under an hour, and reports suggest a second print run is already underway. Even Molson, the original brand behind the ad, has hinted at bringing back Canadian beer branding in full force. At the political level, the ad has seeped into press conferences and debate. Prime Minister Mark Carney quoted a line from it, "We believe in peacekeeping, not policing," during a heated session in the House of Commons discussing Canada's digital tax policy and American retaliation. Opposition leaders from across the spectrum, surprisingly, found common ground in praising the cultural moment. Not all reactions have been positive, though. Some American commentators have accused Canada of hypocrisy, citing past trade protections of its own, and warning that jingoism will only worsen relations. A few Canadian critics also argued that the ad skirts deeper economic fears, with humor rather than policy solutions. But for the most part, the response has been overwhelmingly celebratory. The updated "I Am Canadian" ad is now being shown at local film festivals, used in Canadian studies classes, and even requested at weddings and public ceremonies. For a country that often struggles to define itself beyond poutine and politeness, the timing and tone of this revival feel tailor-made for the moment. It is not just nostalgia, it is a declaration, and perhaps that is why it resonates so strongly. Amid talk of border blockades, app boycotts, and digital taxes, the AD reminds Canadians that their sense of identity does not require American validation. It is something proud, distinct, and enduring, polished by every storm, sharpened by every dispute. Like, share, and subscribe to West is Best for more stories that celebrate Canada's voice, resilience, and rising national pride.